While I was in the hospital for surgery, she asked my mom for my Netflix login, then hosted a watch party at my place. I found out when a nurse showed me her story. 48 hours later, her tea didn't work. I am writing this from a hospital bed. Well, technically, I am writing it from my couch now, but the story starts in the hospital. 2 days ago, I had a full reconstruction of my left knee. It was an old injury from my college football days that had finally caught up with me, turning from a dull ache into a constant grinding pain. The surgery was necessary, scheduled for months, and I knew the recovery would be long and difficult. My girlfriend of 18 months, Jenna, was supposed to be my support system through it all. It turns out, she was just waiting for me to be out of the way so she could have a party. The surgery went well. I came out of the anesthesia feeling groggy and disconnected, like my mind was floating a few feet above my body. My mom was there, sitting by my bedside, her face etched with worry. Jenna had been there before I went in, gave me a quick kiss, and said she would be back later that evening, citing a work deadline she could not miss. I was too out of it to argue. I spent most of that first day dozing in a medicated haze. My mom held onto my phone for me, handling the few texts that came in from friends wishing me well. Around 8 that evening, I was half awake when my phone, sitting on the bedside table, buzzed. My mom picked it up. "Oh, it's Jenna calling," she said softly. She answered it. I could only hear my mom's side of the conversation, her voice kind and a little flustered. "Jenna, honey, hello? Yes, he's okay, just sleeping mostly." "Oh, you are at the apartment? That is good, keeping an eye on things. What's that? You want to log into Netflix? Oh, a code?" Yes, a message just popped up on Mark's phone. I remember trying to process what was happening through the fog. A code for Netflix? Why would she need that? My mom read the 6-digit number aloud into the phone. "Okay, honey. You have a quiet night now. We will see you tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye." She hung up and smiled at me. "That was sweet of her," she said. "She's just having a quiet night at the apartment, wanted to watch a movie." Something about it felt off, even in my drugged state, but I was in too much pain to focus on it. I drifted back to sleep, assuming she was just bored and lonely. The next day, the fog started to lift, but the pain was intense. A new nurse came in to check my vitals and change my dressings. I recognized her immediately. It was Becca, the younger sister of my best friend, Chris. I had known her since she was a little kid. "Hey, Mark," she said with a warm, professional smile. "Heard you finally decided to get that old knee fixed. How are you feeling?" We chatted for a few minutes about her job, her brother, and my surgery. As she was about to leave, she hesitated at the door. She had a strange, awkward look on her face. "Mark, this is probably none of my business," she started, lowering her voice. "And it is super awkward, but I think you need to see this. Chris would kill me if I knew and did not tell you." She walked over and showed me her phone. She had Instagram open. It was Jenna's story from the night before. The first clip was a video of my living room. But it was not quiet. There were at least a dozen people crammed onto my couch and sitting on the floor. There were pizza boxes stacked on my coffee table and empty beer bottles lined up on the kitchen counter. My beer. They were all cheering and shouting at my television. The next clip was a selfie of Jenna, a big smile on her face, a drink in her hand. She had tagged a bunch of her friends and added a caption, "Holding down the fort while the old man is out of commission. Season finale party," with a little winking emoji. The old man. I am 34 years old. The final clip was a sweeping shot of the party in full swing. The music was loud. Someone was doing a dance in the middle of the room, and in the background, I could see one of her friends stumbling into my bookshelf, knocking over a framed photo of my late father. I stared at the screen, my blood running cold. The post-surgery pain in my knee was nothing compared to the sharp, sickening feeling in my gut. I was lying in a hospital bed helpless, and she was using my home, my space, as a party venue. She had not called my mom for a code to have a quiet night. She had called to get access to my accounts so she could entertain her friends. The disrespect was staggering. "Becca," I said, my voice hoarse. "Thank you for showing me this." She just nodded, her expression full of sympathy. "I am so sorry, Mark." After she left, I lay there in that sterile white room, and all the grogginess, all the pain, it all just melted away, replaced by a singular, cold focus. The party was over. Jenna just did not know it yet. I picked up my phone. The first thing I did was go into my Netflix account settings and select sign out of all devices. I did the same for my other streaming services. Then I opened my home Wi-Fi app and changed the network password. Then I made a phone call. Not to Jenna, not to my mom. I called Chris, Becca's brother, my best friend since kindergarten. "Hey man," I said, my voice steady. "I need you to do me a huge favor, a really big one." I explained what had happened. He was silent for a moment, and then I heard him exhale, a sound of pure fury on my behalf. "I never liked her, Mark. I told you that. What do you need me to do?" "I need you to go to my apartment building," I said. "Not tonight, tomorrow, after she leaves for work. I need you to talk to the building superintendent, and I need you to get pictures." My discharge was scheduled for 48 hours from now. That gave me plenty of time to prepare. Jenna's key to my apartment was about to become a useless piece of metal. Update 1. The 24 hours after I saw Jenna's social media story were a testament to the power of good friends and the foolishness of entitled people. As I lay in my hospital bed, managing the pain in my knee, my best friend Chris became my eyes and ears on the ground. He went to my apartment building the next afternoon, just as I had asked. He spoke with the superintendent, a good guy named Mr. Henderson, who already looked annoyed. Apparently, he had received 2 noise complaints from my next-door neighbor the night of the party. Mr. Henderson had a master key for emergencies, but he could not legally let Chris into my apartment. However, he did walk him down the hall. According to Chris, there were a couple of garbage bags full of pizza boxes and beer bottles left outside my door, and the hallway still smelled like stale alcohol. But Chris had his own key to my place, one I had given him years ago for emergencies. After confirming that Jenna's car was gone from the parking garage, he let himself in. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed with a series of photos that made my blood boil all over again. The place was a wreck. There were sticky rings from cups all over my wooden coffee table. Someone had spilled a red drink on my favorite armchair, leaving a dark, ugly stain. The framed photo of my father was back on the shelf, but the glass was cracked, and the kitchen sink was overflowing with dirty dishes. Chris took detailed photos of everything before leaving and locking the door behind him. He had all the evidence I needed. Meanwhile, my communication with Jenna was minimal and calculated. She sent a few texts throughout the day. "Morning, babe. Hope you're feeling a little better today." And later, "Thinking of you. The apartment is so quiet without you, I miss you." The hypocrisy was nauseating. I replied with short, one-word answers. "Thanks, okay, feeling better." I was being deliberately distant, giving her nothing to work with, but not so cold that she would become suspicious. She was walking into a trap, and I wanted her to be comfortable and completely unaware right up until the moment it sprang. The real discovery came when I decided to check my bank account online. I was expecting my finances to be in order, but I was wrong. On the night of the party, there was a charge for over $300 from a local pizza place. She had used the debit card linked to my account, a card I let her use for groceries and household expenses, to pay for her party. This was not just disrespect anymore. This was theft. She had used my money to throw a party in my home while I was in the hospital recovering from surgery. That was it. Any lingering doubt, any thought of trying to talk this through, it all evaporated. The day of my discharge arrived. My mom and Chris came to pick me up. My mom was still blissfully unaware of what Jenna had done. She thought Jenna was a sweet girl who was just a little flighty. I did not have the heart to tell her the truth just yet. "Are we not going to call Jenna to let her know we are on our way home?" my mom asked as Chris carefully helped me into the car. "No, Mom," I said. "I want to surprise her." Instead of driving straight to my apartment, I had Chris stop at a locksmith shop. I hobbled in on my crutches and bought a brand new high-security deadbolt. From there, we went to my apartment. Chris helped me up the stairs, and while my mom waited in the living room, he and I got to work. It took him about 20 minutes to drill out the old lock and install the new one. The old keys were now useless. We settled in, and I waited. Around 6:30 that evening, I heard a key scrape against the new lock. Then again. Then I heard a frustrated sigh, followed by the sound of her phone dialing. My phone, sitting on the table next to me, lit up with her name. I let it ring. A moment later, the buzzing started. "Mark, my key is not working. I am locked out. Did something happen to the door?" I waited a full minute before texting back. "I am home. The door is fine. I will let you in." I got up on my crutches and slowly made my way to the door. Chris stood a few feet behind me. I opened the door. Jenna was standing there, holding several shopping bags, an annoyed expression on her face. "Finally," she said. "What is wrong with the lock? I have been—" Her words trailed off as she saw my face. She saw the cold, hard expression that she had never seen before. "Your key does not work, Jenna," I said, my voice quiet but firm, "because you do not live here anymore." She blinked, confused. "What are you talking about? Do not be dramatic, just let me in." She tried to push past me, but I did not move. Chris took a subtle step forward. "I'm not being dramatic," I said. "I know about the party." Her face paled. "What party? I just had a few friends over to watch the finale. It was no big deal." "A few friends?" I asked. I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshot of her own Instagram story. The crowd of people, the drinks, her triumphant caption. Her jaw went slack. "And this," I said, swiping to the next photo. It was one of Chris's pictures of the stained armchair. "And this," the cracked photo frame. "And this," the overflowing sink. Her eyes darted around, looking for an escape, an excuse. "It was a little messy, okay? I was going to clean it up." "And I suppose you were going to pay me back for this too?" I showed her the final piece of evidence. The $300 charge on my bank statement for her party food. She had nothing. No lies, no half-truths, no gaslighting could work. She was caught, completely and totally. "Chris was kind enough to pack some of your things," I said, gesturing with my head toward a few neatly taped boxes stacked by the entryway. "Your essential belongings are here. As for the rest of your things, you can arrange a time with Chris to pick them up sometime next week. You will not be entering my apartment again." "You cannot do this," she finally choked out, tears welling in her eyes. "I live here. Where am I supposed to go?" "You should have thought about that before you treated my home like a public bar and my trust like it was worthless," I said. I looked past her, out into the hallway. "You need to leave now." She stood there, stunned into silence, the shopping bags slipping from her grasp. She had expected to come home to her comfortable life, to the old man who would probably just be grumpy for a day before getting over it. She had never, in her wildest dreams, imagined that he would be waiting with evidence, a new lock on the door, and her life packed in boxes. Final update. It has been 2 months since I came home from the hospital to a trashed apartment and a relationship that was damaged beyond repair. The process of extracting Jenna from my life was an exercise in holding firm against a tidal wave of manipulation, but every step I took felt like reclaiming a part of myself I had let her chip away. The night I kicked her out, she did not go far. She called her parents, and the subsequent phone call I received from her father was exactly what I expected. He was furious, yelling about how I could throw his daughter out on the street while I was still recovering from surgery. He called me cruel and unstable. I did not argue with him. I did not raise my voice. I just said, "Sir, before you continue, I am going to email you something. Please take a look at it, and then we can finish this conversation." I emailed him everything. The screenshots of Jenna's party, the photos of the damage to my apartment, the bank statement showing the $300 she had spent on my card. I even included a short, polite note from my neighbor about the noise complaint. I did not hear back from him for 2 days. When he did call again, he was a different man. He was quiet, embarrassed. He apologized. He said Jenna had told him a completely different story, that she had claimed a few friends had just stopped by to check on her. He told me he and his wife were deeply disappointed in her behavior. It seemed that once her actions were laid out in black and white, even her own family could not defend them. Jenna, meanwhile, tried a different tactic. Her friend started a small smear campaign on social media, posting vague statuses about men who act like victims and how some people cannot handle a strong woman having fun. The campaign was cut short by my secret weapon, Becca, the nurse. She and Chris's wife, who were part of the same extended social circle, began leaving simple, devastating comments on the posts. Things like, "There is always more to the story," and "Having fun is one thing, but throwing a party while your boyfriend is in the hospital is another." The posts were deleted within a day. While Chris and I were cleaning my apartment that first weekend, and yes, the red stain on the armchair did not come out, I had to throw it away, we found something else. Tucked into the back of her bedside table drawer was a greeting card. It was a birthday card, but it was not from me. It was from a guy I did not know, and the note inside was far from friendly. It talked about their crazy weekend, a month ago, and how he could not wait for the next one. It turned out the party was not an isolated incident of bad judgment. It was part of a much larger pattern of deceit. She was not just using my home, she was using my entire life as a convenient base of operations while she did whatever she wanted. A week later, I sent her a formal itemized bill via certified mail to her parents' address. It included the cost of the party food, the cost of a new armchair, the fee for the locksmith, and the cost to replace the cracked picture frame. The total was just over $900. I included a note explaining that if the amount was not paid within 30 days, I would be filing a claim in small claims court, where I would be happy to present all of my evidence. I received a check from her parents for the full amount 2 weeks later. Life is quiet now, peaceful. My knee is healing well ahead of schedule, something my physical therapist attributes to a low-stress home environment. My mom knows the whole story now, and she feels terrible for giving Jenna the code that night. I told her it was not her fault, she was just being kind, and Jenna exploited that kindness. I heard through the grapevine, mostly from Becca, what happened to Jenna. After a miserable month at her parents' house, she moved into a tiny apartment with 2 roommates. Her influencer career never took off. It turns out that projecting a lavish lifestyle is difficult when you are working a retail job to pay your bills. The friends who were at her party apparently scattered once she was no longer the girl with the nice downtown apartment and the boyfriend who paid for everything. Last weekend, I hosted a small get-together at my place. It was not a party. It was just me, my mom, Chris, his wife, and Becca. I wanted to thank them for their support. I grilled some steaks, and we sat on my new armchair, talking and laughing. My apartment felt like a home again. It felt like my space. As they were leaving, my mom gave me a hug. "I am so proud of you for standing up for yourself, Mark," she said. I realized she was right. For the first time in a long time, I had put my own well-being and self-respect first. I had set a boundary, and I had enforced it. Jenna thought I was an old man, a pushover who was out of commission. She was wrong. The old me, the one who would have ignored the disrespect and swallowed the hurt, was the one who was truly out of commission. And I have no intention of letting him come back.